Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Dave Sands. Welcome to the Food Origins Podcast. I'll be talking to people about their unique stories with food. And as a quick reminder, the restaurants and gear talked about on each episode can be found on my website, foodoriginspodcast.com. I appreciate your support, and thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Food Origins Podcast. My guest today is Bobby Takahashi. He's a fourth-generation member of a family-owned market, Takahashi Market in San Mateo, California. They serve various Asian and Hawaiian foods, and that market has been open since 1906. We get into his perspective on the market, on his side of the story, get into some of his favorite things. So appreciate you guys listening and hope you enjoy it. All right, we're live. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got Bobby Takahashi with me today, and we're going to be talking a lot about a lot of different things. And, we'll just kick it right off. Why don't you tell us about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, and all that good stuff.
Okay, yeah. So, I am Bobby Takahashi. I grew up in San Bruno. I was born in Berkeley. My family has been in the Bay Area since 1906.
Wow.
Yeah. My great-grandfather moved to San Mateo in 1901. And he opened up the market in 1906. So it was just him and my great-grandmother. And then it was just a small bait shop at the time, and it kind of just was because they were fishermen. So that was just the thing to do. You know, everyone kind of, like all the immigrant families kind of started out as farmers, fishermen, really kind of those type of trades.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting because then that was my dad's side, the Takahashi side. But then my mom's side, my grandfather, when he moved over, they had like a farm, like a bunch of farmland in by Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah, like east of Santa Barbara, like that whole area. And it's like crazy to think about that story for them because just how they just built something from absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was a trip.
And they're coming from Hawaii?
No, they're coming from Japan.
Japan. Okay.
Yeah. And for like the Takahashi side, it started out just as bait at a bait shop. They would kind of got into more groceries around like the 20s or so, I believe. Not too sure, exactly sure of the dates because it was kind of just glossed over for me of just like it started as the bait shop and like then it went into this and then this is how it expanded. And it's kind of just like about how populated the Bay Area became. Because in 1906, 1900s, there was very little in San Mateo, because everything was kind of based out of like the ports and like, where trade was easiest. So San Mateo was really kind of at a disadvantage that way.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things about how it kind of expanded was my grandpa was in charge of like delivering the groceries when they started getting into groceries and just that whole market instead.
Right. He
would have to deliver from San Mateo to San Francisco on a horse and buggy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is this your grandfather? Is that his first name's Kenji?
Yeah, Kenji.
Yeah,
Kenji. He changed his name when he came over.
Okay.
Because I don't really know if it was his intention to change it.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure whoever was like writing his name down at Angel Island was like, hey, yeah, Kenji. All right, that's a G.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah, it was he would deliver on a horse and buggy, and he told me that there was like a route. It wasn't 101. It wasn't like straight up the coast that way.
Okay.
It was like this crazy path, like kind of up towards 280.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's got to still be there to this day, where it's just like this really old, gnarly looking dirt path that just went through. And actually, I think
I wonder if it's like Skyline.
I wonder if it's Skyline or Kenyatta Road.
Could be.
You know? Yeah.
Could
so
be.
It's,
yeah.
So, but he took that, and it took, days.
Yeah, that had to take a week or more, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. No perishable goods, you know.
And just so you guys know, that's only a 30-minute drive usually by vehicle.
Yeah. If you take Caltrain, then maybe an hour and a half.
Wow, that's some history right there.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting when he told me.
And that was to pick up items and
that was to deliver
right?
Yeah, to
deliver,
do all of that.
do deliveries. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it was cool because it's so like unbelievable just for how technology kind of progressed. But there was a kind of like a horse ring. I don't know what the real name for it is called, but you hook your horse up to it on the sidewalk. On the curb.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but there was one right across the street from the market there.
Wow.
It was there for years until somebody, curb checked it and then knocked it out of there.
Basically, where you can park your horse, right?
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Horse parking.
Horse parking only, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there are some buildings still in San Francisco that you can look at the very bottom that you can tell they were horse barns prior.
Oh, really?
Because they have the arches and they have the huge doors.
Oh, it has to be big enough.
Yeah. So, and you can kind of look at them. If you look at them, you can tell obviously they're a house now or there might be an apartment, but the very bottom, and some of them are usually on the corner, you can tell that was a horse barn before.
That's
and they would
awesome.
they would just drive they would leave the horses inside there and then, go about their business elsewhere. That's crazy. And we're talking, what year are we talking about that happening?
It's got to be
your grandfather.
It's got to be like in
20s.
It's actually maybe more the 30s.
30s. Okay.
Yeah, maybe more the 30s. Because my grandpa, when he went into the war, he was only 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say like the 30s and 40s is when he was making those deliveries.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting just because I've been in the Bay Area my whole life, and going to visit other places is really cool. Like going to New York was really cool. Just Vancouver, Canada, and then like Toronto. It's just great seeing how different other places are.
Yeah.
But like real culture shocks are going to Japan. Me and my buddies went to a trip in to Thailand, Thailand, Cambodia, and we went to Japan all on the same trip.
Okay.
And it was so eye-opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yep.
And also the food is amazing.
I have not been there, but yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
No. And it's extremely expensive for the
Japan.
American dollar. Yeah. Well, for Thailand, right?
Parts of it, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But Japan, a little different.
It's not too bad in Japan.
Yeah.
It's about,
close to being the same.
About the same, yeah.
Let's get into some of the things growing up. So, some of the things I like to ask is, what did you eat when you were growing up? What's some of the things that you ate? And you kind of got to give probably a little background with some of the things you ate, but let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's see. My mom, who is a great cook, actually both my parents are amazing cooks. She really likes Italian food. So I grew up eating a lot of pasta, and a lot of near expiring groceries. Very delicious. But yeah, it's I think just my mother would just cook for me, and then when I would be at like my grandma's house, she would just make me the most simple things you can imagine, like butter and rice, butter noodles. Because I guess I was a pretty picky eater as a child.
Okay.
So my grandmother wasn't going to go all out and make me some elaborate dish just because she wanted to make it and I wouldn't even touch it. So she's like, yeah, here you go, buttered rice.
Let it get rejected. Yeah. She's like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Was it like, so what are the things, like, I know as a kid, of course, myself included,
Mm-hmm.
are there things you didn't like? You're just like, I'm not eating that.
I don't know. I think, I guess it's just vegetables, but that may just be because of cartoons.
Really?
Honestly, because cartoons made them seem like the worst and the worst thing you could possibly eat in the world.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, my parents knew that I always liked eggs. Butter, and noodles. So it was pretty simple for them. They just would make me a bowl of noodles or make me breakfast. That was for sure the best meal of the day.
American style breakfast.
Exactly. Hash brown, sausage, eggs.
Bacon.
Yeah. Some rice.
Rice. And then I know we didn't get into it. You might want to explain, like, where's your dad from? Your dad is...
Oh, he's from San Mateo.
San Mateo as well. Okay.
Yeah, my mom is from Berkeley.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she was born in Colorado.
Okay.
They moved out here, and then stayed in Berkeley. Went to San Francisco State. Grew up in Berkeley though.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I like Berkeley for its diversity.
Yeah.
It's got, especially when it comes to food. You have,
oh yeah, for sure.
You have Alice Waters is over there with Chez Panisse, and she's one of the ones that broke the movement for farm to table, having things locally produced and locally brought to the restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's Berkeley takes out all that.
I think that's definitely what
without
they
an
stand
issue
for sure. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then I always ask, I always tell people my thing, but did you ever have any like traumatic things that happened to you with food? Like I had Jell-O when I was a kid. I had to get my tonsils taken out when I was probably 11 or something. And they were like, the first thing you get to eat is Jell-O. And I was like, that's what I get to eat
Great.
first? Never wanted ever again.
Well, until maybe until 5th grade or so, I was allergic to chocolate. And when I was even younger, I was allergic to strawberries.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Nothing traumatic, just because I was a pretty resilient kid.
Yeah.
I would just get itchy. I would just get hives, but it would be a pretty dead giveaway. If I were lying to my parents, saying, "Hey, did you have some chocolate today?" I'm like, "No, I was on like scratching my neck all crazy."
Like, sure.
It's like hives everywhere, but no, it wasn't bad. It just, even to this day, I really have never, not a big sweets guy. I'm more savory than anything, but yeah, I won't really go out of my way to eat chocolate just because I kind of was told not to eat it as a child, and then I just kind of kept eating it. So I don't know if that's...
Have you become resilient to it? Both those items?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you built okay.
Yeah,
so
just chocolate-covered strawberries all day.
At least you can have it. Those are two great items.
They are, yeah.
And then, I always ask, you kind of went over it already, but how did your palate change when you got older? Were you starting to like other things that you didn't like when you were a kid?
Yeah. I think just because my parents like to cook so much, and also that we had once we added the kitchen to the market, that's really when I started to just eat everything.
Yeah.
Because that was in 2006 and I just got out of high school.
Okay.
And in high school I never really had this super diverse, crazy like culinary experiences, just because I was eating whatever was in front of me, and whatever combo meal was in front of me at the time. But yeah, I think just learning how to cook was probably the greatest thing to happen to me so far, of just experiencing food and just trying food. Because once you start cooking your own food, you kind of you're not picky.
Yeah.
You want to try it all. You want to just.
What are some of the first things that you started cooking yourself?
The first thing, well, like in middle school is when I first started cooking for myself.
Yeah.
And I would make udon. Yeah, because we had, those like frozen blocks of noodles.
Yep.
Yeah. All you gotta do is boil water, throw some dashi in, and then toss that in and wait till it's ready for it to separate. And that was like simple enough. Where, granted, I had to turn on the stove, but still, no harm.
You're like middle school. Did you work at the market part time throughout? Or
it's not,
or is it kind of a thing you just drop in once in a while?
Not so much work. I think before middle school, especially too, it was kind of just
your hangout spot.
Well, I don't know about hangout. Maybe my babysitting spot because my grandparents lived across the street.
Yeah,
and so that's when my grandma would watch me and my older cousin too.
Okay,
and that's when she would make me buttered noodles and buttered rice.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, actually, one thing. One of the things I remember growing up eating was a crinkle cookie, because my grandmother loved those. It's like a brownie cookie. Okay. It will always have a special place in my heart. Like if I ever receive it, even if I'm not like hungry or if I'm not craving anything sweet, I'll still eat it. Like if it's in front of me, I'll be like, yeah, I want that right now. Yeah.
Is that your, I like to say the ratatouille moment?
No, kind of? I think it was more just that, not that, because that was like in grade school. Okay. My grandmother would have to hide it because she wasn't supposed to be eating like that. She wasn't supposed to be eating a bunch of sweets, just bad food. But then she would always go to Draeger's, and then that's where they had them. And that's when I first had them, because she always have a box hidden underneath the dining table. Mm-hmm. And then whenever I'd go over there, she goes, hey, come over here, and she'd break off half and then give me it.
Are they come in different flavors?
No, it's just chocolate.
This is just chocolate. Yeah. Okay. These guys?
Whew, yeah.
Yeah, so just Googling, because we are on audio, we're just Google crinkle cookie, and you'll see the pictures of them. They look like almost like it's just like a dusted powdered sugar chocolate cookie that's been dusted, and then it looks like it's just cracked open.
Yeah, and they're insanely soft too. Yeah. Like the outside is nice and crispy, nice and crunchy, and then the inside it's like a brownie on the inside.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, they were really good.
But even if you're allergic to chocolate.
Even if you are. I think that kind of turned me off. It was like, yeah, I'm going to eat you. I don't care if I get hives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was that for sure is actually one of the things I grew up eating.
Okay.
Because I didn't really eat too much like that. I would eat out at like Sushi Sam's a lot. Even like when we would go to Hawaii, I would have a loco moco for every single meal. Like my parents were worried that like, man, this kid's not getting any nutrition. Just eating.
Because you weren't branching out?
No, I was just eating the same thing every single time.
And then I got to ask, so I know like you got a huge Japanese heritage. Where does the Hawaiian influence come into play with, your family and then obviously the market? Yeah. Well, so
the, how like I was saying that the market kind of just would adapt and then just kind of go into a new, whatever was available at the time. Mm-hmm. They kind of just adapted to what needed to get done. Yep. Once we branched more into like groceries and then actually opened up a little grocery store, we had more of a demand for just for specialized goods. Like in the 70s, like 60s, 70s, that's when a lot of like just Hawaiians moved over to the mainland. Okay. And a lot of them moved to San Mateo, Bay Area, and I think somebody came up to my grandpa and was like, "Hey, have you had Kalua pig? Like it's awesome. Yeah. Like, can you get some for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll try to." And then that's when we got in contact with people in Hawaii, and then just kept going from there. and bringing more and more in.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll describe a little bit for people that have never been into your market. I mean, if you walk in there, you look at your menu, you can look at the menu on the website, but if you look at your menu, it's very, very Hawaiian.
Very Hawaiian, yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, Hawaiian is Japanese influence as well with the melting pot of everything else, but like you guys have a ton of Hawaiian ingredients. I read you get fresh delivery pretty much every Thursday. Is that right?
Yeah, every
Something
Friday
like that.
now.
A Friday.
Yeah, now it is. But
you're getting fresh deliveries from Hawaii, which is awesome. So you're getting a lot of the direct things that, you know, if you've been to Hawaii, you'll see, you know, whether it's macadamia nuts to cookies to, you guys get poi in there. You're getting a lot of the grocery items that not necessarily easy to find.
No, it's which
is really cool.
Yeah, unless you ship directly from Hawaii, which especially now is very difficult and very expensive mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe it too, because whenever people ask like, "Hey, so you guys from Hawaii?" And it's like, "No, I was born here. I was born like in
and you know, like in the beginning, that's why I ask.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Where's Bobby from?"
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't, you know.
Yeah.
It's just because it's so Hawaiian heavy.
It is.
They see your Japanese last name and they're like, "Oh, they must all be from Hawaii."
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, not exactly.
Yeah, and it's like the great thing about it too is just, that's the best way to describe it, is that Hawaii is just a melting pot.
Yeah.
And then I think that's just the main reason why my family grew up in it too. As much as I didn't grow up really, like I grew up eating poi. I mean, I would eat it if it was there, but you know, we didn't get that much in, so it wasn't really, it wasn't really cool for us to just eat our product and like not sell it. But it was interesting because having that background, because that's never really occurred to me too, where I didn't grow up with a Japanese background, you know, like I'm a fourth generation Japanese American.
Right.
Like when I'm in Japan, I am lost, you know, like that's like such a crazy perspective for me to see. That's where it's completely different, but I mean, where my great grandparents were from and where my grandpa was from on my mom's side.
Right. Same for me.
Yeah. So it's like it's really interesting. It's really good to have that connection, but at the same time, that's like the kind of the experience that most Asian Americans have here, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why, you know, like I do this podcast, why you're here, sharing that and showing like what different things are. You know, your market has adapted basically over time, and you know, Hawaiian food's awesome. Like
Hawaiian food.
You guys have never had any Hawaiian food, you are definitely missing out.
Yes, I agree.
And I mean, you've got just there's so many things we could go off of, but you got ahi poke from, you know, and a lot of people know you guys for your musubis.
Yeah.
And especially the various kinds.
Yeah, but and that's like the cool thing about just Hawaiian food too, is that there's no wrong way to do it. You know, it's like how those dishes were made, they're getting whatever ingredients they have in front of them and recreating something that they grew up eating or that they liked eating from wherever they were from.
Yeah. And
so it's like the locomoco, which is my favorite thing. I mean, I can't eat it every day.
Yeah.
But I would if I could.
Describe that to us.
It's a white rice, a hamburger patty, eggs, and brown gravy. And that's like, that would be my ratatouille moment.
Yeah.
Like taking a bite of like a really good locomoco, because like just my childhood eating that thing for every meal. It's like, I'm sure the ones that I grew up eating, I'm sure they were okay.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that combination of like that runny yolk, the gravy, the patty, and all soaked into the rice. It's like, there's nothing better than that.
It's breakfast of champions. It's a big breakfast of champions.
Very heavy breakfast.
Yeah. But no, I've had it. It's good. It's real good.
But like the locomoco, it's.
And you guys make it.
Oh yeah, ours is very good. I made sure that ours was really good.
Yeah.
Like I would be very disappointed with myself
Yeah.
if the gravy wasn't good.
I know we kind of touched on San Mateo, but I always ask everyone because people like to hear it. You got any best? What is the best restaurant you've ever been to? And I don't care where it is. It could be anywhere in the world. Where's the best one you've been to? Take your time. No rush.
I don't know. I don't think I have a best one.
Maybe you have a favorite then?
I think it has to, yeah, I'd say it'd have to be like...
Sometimes it's a local favorite, but sometimes you just had an experience that you're like, wow,
yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, because there's a lot. I'd say like anytime I go on vacation or anything like that, there's always one that will always stand out, and I'll always go back to.
Like where?
Like Ikeda's up in like Auburn.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's have you been there?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, tell us about it.
You'll love it, dude. It's
Tell us about it.
Ikeda's. It's in Auburn. It's kind of like a fruit and nut farm.
Okay.
But they have a location right off of 80.
Probably 80. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 80.
This is way up northern
yeah.
California.
Yeah, but it's kind of like how their business just expanded the same way, where they adapted and just like brought on more stuff that people wanted that they were good at too.
Okay.
So they had the fruit and they had the nuts, like, which always solid there, but they make pies there. They make pies they're like oh god, I can't even think of the name right now. The cobblers. They're like peach cobbler and strawberry cobbler too. It's also really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Ikeda's?
Yes. Yeah. And on top of that too, they also have like burgers.
Okay.
Just burgers and fries. Very simple, very straight up.
Kind of old school spot.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
Ikeda's, that's Ikeda''s.
I think that one might be the one from
is there
Davis.
one?
There's one in Davis.
Oh,
too.
there is one in Davis too.
Yeah, but
okay.
the one in Davis just has like the fruit and the nuts.
Okay.
And tamales, I think. But I've only passed through that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But going to like Ikeda's was always like a special trip. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
Nice.
like, yeah, that's because it's not near anything really. Mm-hmm. It's like always on the way to Tahoe. It's always on the way to Reno or something like that.
Okay.
And we would go there. What was it? Oh, well, my grandpa liked to gamble. So we'd go to Reno.
Okay.
And then that was the first
That's
time I
the
had
stop.
it. Yeah, that's always a stop on the way there.
Okay.
And then actually just having that growing up, yeah, I make a point, like if we ever go to Tahoe, even if we're going nowhere near like that side of it, 'cause I found out that South Lake Tahoe, there's a different route, unfortunately. So Ikeda's is like an hour and a half or 40 like hour out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still,
You'll make the point to do it.
yeah.
And I think people need to realize sometimes it is worth the effort.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been there before. And that's awesome. Yeah, that's a cool spot. I never knew about it.
Yeah,
and
if you ever need like 8 pounds of pistachios too, you have a plug now.
there we go. Fruit and nuts.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any other so we can get into local spots if you want. Any local spots besides yours that you want to shout out to everybody and let them know that they should be eating it?
Honestly, anything in downtown.
Yeah,
In San Mateo, yeah. Specifically, well, like Sam's. I would always go to Sam's, but that guy's crazy popular now, or he's always been. But then now it's like doubly so, just because their hours are shorter. But it's like they are always the pinnacle of sushi for me.
I agree.
In
I agree.
Bay Area, yeah.
In the Bay Area, I agree. Yeah. I have extensive knowledge of Sam's. I've been there many times. Mm-hmm. Talk to Sam all the time, especially when he's at the sushi bar. Mm-hmm. If you're there, you know, get the omakase, and you know, you get the chef's choice. You get the chef's pick, and Sam has some unique things that he likes to play around with.
Yeah, like that was probably the first time that I've had yuzu kosho, because he put it on the.
Why don't you tell us what that is?
Yuzu kosho. It's like a uses the Japanese lemon.
Correct.
It's a little sweeter, mm-hmm. and they get like the zest for it, and they make this. I don't even know what the proper name for it would be, but then it's just like a mixture, it's like a mash of just the zest and like some spice.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they add that
like a little paste
almost like a paste. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the one they put that on their aji, their horse mackerel.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, what did I just eat?
Yeah, I mean, there's I've had that.
Yeah.
There's
that was years and years ago.
And he's still doing like very similar things now, like his baby lobster.
Yeah, very, very, very simple things.
You know,
it's nice.
The baby lobster is really good with he just crushed almonds. And then we could go on and on about Sam's. But I appreciate Sam. I talked to him many times. Actually saw him not too long ago out in the street and said what's up. And he explains like, he takes a lot of effort in getting fresh fish. He's like, and I don't know if he's still doing it. Maybe he has a guy doing it now for him, but for the most part, he's going to the market early in the morning and he's watching the fish come in because he wants to make sure that's what we're serving. Yeah. I want to make sure I inspect it. I want to see it, make sure it meets my standards.
Actually, I'm glad you said that too, because that reminds me of what I would go to the produce or the fish market with my dad too, because there was one on Railroad Avenue.
Okay.
Like in San Mateo.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's there anymore. I forget what the cross street was, but it was really close to where my parents live now, but we were living in San Bruno. Mm-hmm. So we would go there before the store opened, and it was like as like an 8-year-old going into this place, it's like, hey, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to drop like $800 right now because you poked that fish too hard.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. That's good really exposure cool. Though.
Yeah. It was really cool. And it was, I mean, I think the only thing I honestly really remember about it is just that super intense smell of everything. And then after going so many times, it's not off-putting. Like at all, because it's not like rotten fish or anything, It's like just, it's just fresh fish.
Fresh fish it's all should not smell.
Yes, yeah, it should not smell bad. Yeah,
it should not smell bad. Yeah,
yeah.
It should smell like you should smell ocean.
Ocean, yeah.
You smell anything different, we got problems.
Yes, yeah. If you don't smell the ocean, then don't eat it.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Is there? So some of the things going back to the market, you are now the manager, right?
Yes.
And basically running the place.
Yes.
And you can kind of talk about that. I know, the topic comes up every time, but it's the pandemic. You guys definitely had to pivot during that time.
Yes.
Still in that transition phase because we're still dealing with some things.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that and, how you ended up becoming the manager of the market?
Well, so it's nice because my dad never just dropped it, like a lot of people that are in family businesses, that's kind of how it changes hands. Mm-hmm. Like it'll just get dropped on them, know, and then they just got to figure everything out from the get-go.
Right.
But the nice thing is that, I mean, my dad likes being there, it's like, it's something that he loves doing, and he loves seeing all the people too, as much as all of us do there too, which is great because we have so many regular customers that they're what saved us for sure. Mm-hmm. Like hands down, that is the reason why we're able to keep keep up with everything, and they're like the best motivation to keep going. Like we have hands down the best customers.
Yep.
Like ever.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about community and
it is,
taking care of each other.
Exactly. Just like it's like the smallest things too, just like remembering a person's name, remembering like what they like, what they dislike.
Yeah.
But and that was something that my dad has always loved doing. He just liked people, But yeah, so with like the pandemic starting, like my dad, I made sure that he wasn't there at the beginning because there was so much mystery around everything, just so much like uncertainty around everything that it's not worth risking, Like I was really considering just like closing until it was safe, But at the same time too, like I know that we have a lot of customers that it's just they just love coming to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just had to make it as safe as possible to do that, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it was.
And it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
I mean,
that was.
And I can help describe for people. I mean, a lot of times we can go to your market, you walk in, you make a right, you're looking at the fresh fish counter with the pokes in there, and then the menu's up on the wall, and you start ordering.
Yeah.
But all that had to change.
Yeah, everything changed just because we had to just keep people apart,
Right.
Or just make it so it wasn't crowded. And that was, and I'm actually, at the very beginning when everything got shut down, we kept our kitchen open, which was, in hindsight, a bad idea because nobody else was open, right? All the restaurants had to close unless it was for takeout. Actually, no, they all had to close because most places weren't set up for takeout.
Correct.
A
lot of places weren't ready.
No, yeah, they weren't ready for it. I mean, nobody was, but so we had our kitchen still open. We were trying to do things exactly how we did before, or we didn't really change anything. We had the line, we limited people inside, but just that alone isn't enough to just make everyone happy. Not even that, just make it easier for the customer, easier for us.
Right.
So at the beginning, it was mainly just making the musubi, because making the musubi to order takes a long time. Not like a long time, but long enough where it's going to hold up the line.
Right.
Because pumping out a plate lunch is cake. Like that's why we're still doing that now.
Yeah.
But when we started taking orders this is right when the beginning of it all happened. Where it's like, oh yeah, we can do this. Phone orders started coming in. It's like, oh yeah, 5 musubis, we can do that. 6 plate lunch, yeah, we can do that. And then after like a few days of people realizing that our kitchen was still open, the wait got to be for like walk-in orders got to be almost an hour and a half.
Oof.
And I'm telling people, it's like, hey, yeah, we want people to call their order in, but I understand like right now you're here. So if you guys want to come back, or if you want to just get a plate lunch that'll be faster, you'll get it in like a fraction of the time. Just because you can only make so many, because you got to lay everything out, you got to cook the thing, you got to make it again and cut it.
Yeah.
And that whole process is just, it was chaos.
Yeah, and you guys aren't working with a massive kitchen either.
Oh yeah,
it's
no,
a small kitchen,
our staff got cut in half too. Like there was literally
correct
5 of us.
Yeah.
Well, 6 of us.
Yeah.
And it's like those guys I owe them so much for like being
hanging in there,
being awesome,
yeah,
and just like really holding it together through the pandemic, even through now too, where we're not short staffed, but yeah, we all grew a little, we all matured unwillingly, but
I think we all did in different ways, but you're business wise. And then, I mean, I know like, there's articles written about your market and how much history it has, and with your great grandfather and then your grandfather and everything. And then like you ended up taking over, how'd that kind of torch? How'd the torch get passed, kind of? Because you were gonna go into that a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well,
it didn't get dropped on you, but you've kind of been working there.
Oh, yeah.
You were kind of working there as it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But were you gonna do something else, like as a career wise? Were you looking at doing something else before that's happened?
Yeah, kind of. Not really. I've always like had it in my mind that I wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to be there, you know.
Yeah.
But I went to college in San Diego,
mm-hmm.
and when I graduated, you know, there's this idea that it's put into your mind when you're in college, you got to graduate, you got to get like this like crazy 9-to-5 job, and this like you got to be set for the rest of your life kind of thing. You got to start building your 401, your IRA, whatever. But it's like they don't tell you that there's, you know, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So like I was like, okay, well, I will try. And so like I was talking to like my cousin who worked at a startup, and she's like, hey, do you want to do like technical help with us, just helping people through email?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I can do that. So I did that on top of working at the market in just like the off hours.
Okay. And
it was fine.
Yeah, it's pretty dry, right?
Yeah. But I think just doing both of them side by side, it really made me certain that I wanted to just commit to one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're doing like two things at once, or trying to put yourself in as much as you can into one thing,
yep, you
kind of lose on whatever else you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You lose out on whatever else you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, so I started doing that more and started doing more work with my cousin, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good or anything like that, but
yeah.
When they got bought out, she's like, okay, well, I guess that's it. I was like, oh, cool. I can put all my focus into the market now, which honestly, I had zero foresight. It like growing up in like my 20s, early 20s, it's just like I was just kind of living day to day, you know, just doing whatever was in front of me kind of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a really entitled piece of shit thing for me to say, but it's like, you know, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, and if you don't,
zero,
you know,
yeah.
If you don't know what you know, it's not easy to find what you want right away.
Exactly,
yeah.
Know? But not having to care for anything like that is is easy to just get used to.
Sure.
So getting into like the market itself, I wasn't really part of like the not really management, really. Not really that. I was just more of a kitchen manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I got back from college, I had a talk with my dad. I was like, hey, so our the main chef who started the kitchen, started like making everything in the kitchen, she was injured. So she had to stop working, unfortunately.
Okay.
But she was very good, and she's very good at like Japanese cooking. So we had like bentos, we had all of that stuff, like just pumping out all day long too, which is great.
Yeah.
But then when she had to stop working, I was like, hey, I could cook. So that's when I started getting into cooking, and that's when I started being not picky about what I ate. So just because when you're starting to learn something, there's like that excitement, and just that alone really turned me on to just eating in general and just trying new things. And that went hand in hand with the business, as it turns out. Because even at that time, my mindset wasn't like, oh, I'm going to run this place, or I want to take over, you know?
Yeah.
Like I want this to be like my life. It was more just at the time I was like, oh, this is great. Like I love doing this.
You're starting to enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just work anymore.
Yeah. And then I got to work with my friends. I got to work with my family. And on top of that, the customers are all awesome.
Yeah.
So it's starting out, it was very appealing. And then I realized that why it's so appealing is because like I love doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes a while in my mind for it to click. Like, oh yeah, if you love doing it, you should probably commit to it. You know.
Yeah.
So, in that respect, I kind of, that's when my mind was like, okay, you should, you know, have a business plan for it, restructure it a little bit, organize it. And that's what I did in like 2013, 2012, around there.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been doing that ever since. I've been like trying to constantly update and improve everything at the market. But then it was mainly just in the kitchen where my focus was. So like the whole grocery aspect of it was more foreign for me to like go up and down the aisles, even though that's like what I did growing up, was just go up and down the aisles and restock.
Yeah, you probably have that place memorized.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like restocking and all that stuff was something that I've been learning over the past like 10 years.
Okay.
So it's getting better, and then I know for sure it's going to be something that I'm going to also dive into fully very soon.
I got to ask you, what is your favorite item at the market?
Favorite item?
Yeah. You have to have a favorite. Like if you told someone they've never been here, this is my favorite. You don't have to eat it, but this is my favorite.
Calbee makes these pizza chips that are very good. They're like, have you had the Pringles pizza?
No.
Okay. Well,
similar to those?
It's like those, but then like shaped like Ruffles.
Okay. And the Calbee brand makes shrimp chips you're talking too, right?
Yeah, they make a bunch.
They make a bunch of different flavors, but the pizza ones?
The pizza ones, yeah.
That is not what I expected, but okay. That's cool.
He said best product. I was like, hey man, that one's really good.
If that's your favorite, that's your favorite. Is there anything, I know like you're always trying new things. Is there anything new that you want to, is there any projects you have for the market coming up, or something that you're thinking about that you want to change or introduce?
We are going to add a heating display.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So
all the musubi is going to go into there, because that's what made the musubi so good when they were made to order.
Yeah.
Just having like a nice hot musubi. But yeah, so we're just going to restructure like the inside a little bit and find a place for it.
Ooh, that sounds good. My favorite's the salmon belly musubi.
Yeah.
That is my favorite.
Yeah, the salmon belly is awesome.
That's what I always tell people to get.
Yes. Actually the crawfish musubis are also really bomb.
Ooh, too. I haven't had that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's really good. And it's funny because when people ask me like, "Hey, so what's the most popular musubi?" and I was like, "Popular? It's spam musubi."
Yeah,
hands down.
Right.
Just numbers alone.
It's funny that I mean, it's not funny. I mean, if you go to Hawaii, that's what you're going to find.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
So some people don't realize that. They think, oh, there's all these other ones, but you have branched out. You got meat. You have some beef ones.
Yeah. That was like the great part about making organizing the kitchen, was thinking like, oh, what else can I make? Like we made like the loco moco musubi. It was just like, the idea was to have it like kind of like a dip. Like you have the au jus on the side but instead it's gravy. Yeah. But with the musubi.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started making that. Nothing super crazy.
Is there something you like to cook? What's your favorite thing to cook?
Honestly, like pasta or like a bowl of noodles. Like what I eat noodles every day for sure. Yeah. So it's my favorite food, just because you can make so variations. Yeah.
So you're talking udon, ramen.
Yeah.
all the way across the board.
All the way across it, yeah. During like this winter time, or during any cold season, I really get into like army stew, you know. But then I just throw a batch of noodles in it too.
So just like you doing beef stew?
No, like the Korean army stew, like that has like spam in it and stuff. Like that.
Explain that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like army stew is it's like a kimchi meat stew.
Okay.
And then you just toss whatever's in your vegetable.
Okay.
And then you just cook it all down, cook it all together.
Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. And then the addition is spam is the variation.
Yeah. I think that's
for meat sometimes.
For meat, yeah. Like I think that was what they used for army stew in like, the Korean War.
Got it.
Yeah, just because, you know, GIs had cans of spam.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, we got kimchi too? Yeah, just toss it in this pot here with some water and we're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. That's a new one for me.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, just like stews like that in general. I'm very partial to like a one pot meal. Yeah.
I mean, especially right now, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's very homey. Yeah. And I'm unfortunate I never got to try my grandmother's. I hear hers was awesome, but I was a picky eater, so I got buttered rice.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Like
yeah.
It's a tough thing. Yeah, like if you pushed it away and then now you're like, damn.
Yeah, I know, man.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
And I think I have the same thing. Like there's things that I didn't eat when I was a kid and changed over when I started cooking. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course, when you get to a restaurant, just kind of like when you got to the kitchen, you're like, okay, you need to know what everything tastes like.
Yeah.
You know, there's you can't have any, you know, prejudice or stigmatism over any of the items because you have to taste them all, whether you like them or not. Obviously, if you're allergic, you're not going to eat them. But for the most part, you know, like when I was cooking at the Italian place, Coletto's downtown on Powell Street, you know, they had like 12 kinds of mushrooms. I had never even seen past a button mushroom before that. I mean, I've heard, you know, like I was trained and they taught us the different types, but I had never seen them in person.
Yeah.
Going into the walk-in and then seeing, you know, oyster mushrooms and lobster mushrooms and all these other ones, all these varieties. And they're like, yeah, you got to try them all. I was like,
the lobster ones, those are the crazy ones they look like they're red, right? Like
they have that orange tint, almost reddish orange tint. Yeah. And they're huge.
Yeah. Okay.
They're massive. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never tried those, but I wouldn't have thought to eat it. Like if you saw it growing in the ground, it's like,
correct. And then, you know, if you're not a forager, you're not sure if you can eat it.
Yeah. Cause what I've been told is they have bright colors you stay away from. You don't need it.
It's a tough thing. Yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate you coming on. Is there, you know, anything else you want to go over?
No, I mean, I don't know.
I think we covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I appreciate you coming on and, you know, giving us the history of your market and history of your family, which is really cool. And, you know, you guys got to go visit Takahashi Market in San Mateo.
Yes, please do.
And you guys have a website, shows up everything, takahashimarket.com. Mm-hmm. Address is 221 South Claremont Street, San Mateo, California. And thanks, Bobby. We're out.
Thank you, Dave.
And as a quick reminder, the restaurants and gear talked about on each episode can be found on my website, foodoriginspodcast.com. I appreciate your support and thanks for listening.